How's Brian?
Good.
Yeah, just in a second.
So you don't even.
Been there kind of low.
Yes.
Sure, I would have loved it. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys all had a nice break, and this week's going well for you. So welcome back. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It's 7:04 p.m. The date is March 18th, 2026. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not very patriotic.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take the roll. Dante Di Gregorio.
Here.
Pat Sullivan.
Here.
Marina Colonis. Present. Miguel Hoyos.
Here.
Benjamin Domini.
Here.
Judy LaRose.
Here.
Brianna Acosta.
Here.
Isabella Bob.
Here.
Joshua Ballesteros.
Here.
Ollie Barone.
Here.
Monica Budzina.
Here.
Dari Lynn Campbell.
Present.
William Dempsey.
Here.
Donovan Dodson. Jacob Fahrenholtz.
Here.
Nicole Glennon.
Here.
Jamie Goldberg.
Here.
Alexandra Howlett.
Here.
Riley Jackman.
Here.
Alex Logan.
Here.
Malcolm Mann.
Here.
Paige Marshall.
Here.
Madison Mello.
Here.
Kaden Mesa. Josh Mahalos.
Here.
Kristen Montron. She was here.
She was here.
Marcus Pacheco.
He's here.
Joseph Rapacetti.
Here.
Kai Reed.
Here.
Marcus Rocha.
Here.
Chris Russell. Jason Sanchez. John Seguin.
Here.
Eddie Silva Ramos.
Here.
Nelson Toshkin. Jasmine Valdez. Lucas Weber.
Present.
Cindy Kozel. Harry Levis. Melissa Marcotte. Michael Kane. Michael Ward. Ted Zito. Matthew Jakes.
Present.
Okay, that's everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nikita. We're going to move on to approval of the agenda. A couple of our faculty and administrative reps are not here, so I'm just going to make an amendment to strike their names from the agenda. So I move to amend the agenda under Section 9, Updates and Remarks, to strike Administration Update, Mrs. Cindy Kozel, Dr. Melissa Marcotte, Mr. Michael Kane, and Dean of Students, Mr. Ted Zito. Seconded by, motion by Representative Howlett, seconded by Representative Budzina. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Is Representative Levis also not attending?
She did not email me that she was not going to show up tonight, so. Okay.
Oh, I see that Representative Zito or Ted sent a proxy. Do you have any announcements to make for?
No.
Nope,
Okay,
okay,
so
never
let me
mind.
introduce myself. I know most of you, but my name is Michael Cunningham. I'm the Associate Dean of Students, and I'm just here to represent the Dean's office should you need anything.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there any more discussion on the amendment? Okay, then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, amendment passed. Now I'm seeking a motion to approve the amended agenda. Motion by Representative Mann, seconded by Representative Seguin. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. I call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. We're going to move on to our speaker. I would like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Boulay to talk about the Hope Scholarship. You have the floor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm sending around some handouts and you'll get them in just a moment. Thank you for inviting me. I came here today to give you a little bit of information about the Hope Scholarship in terms of the Hope Priority team that we're working on, and to also showcase something to folks with regard to creating a Hope SharePoint that will be accessible to students, and I would love your perspective on that. A little bit about myself. I am the director for the Hope Scholarship. I have worked at Rhode Island College since December 2023. In the handout that you will see, it tells you a little bit about the background of the Hope Scholarship. It started in 2023. It's scheduled to run until at least 2030. We're hoping we can make it permanent this year. And we have a few folks in this room who've testified, I see, at the State House already. This gives you some information in terms of some of the outcomes over the first 2 years. We're currently in year 3 with the Hope Scholarship. And the Hope Priority Team is one of 3 priority groups that the college president has issued for this particular academic year. There are 3 priority groups. One of them is looking at pathways. One of them is looking at advising. And the third one is looking at a Hope marketing campaign that's an internal marketing campaign. So the purpose behind that is we're trying to get around to all employees at the college to better explain what the Hope Scholarship is, what it does, and we're doing trainings with faculty and also with advisors. So they have more robust information about lessons that we learned within the first couple of years. So that's pretty much what it explains. I will also highlight on the other side of the handout, it talks about some of the eligibility requirements. I'm not going to explain those for today. You certainly have some representatives here who are Hope Scholars that can certainly explain that from their perspective as well. Some of the benefits for our Hope Scholars is they have the opportunity when they graduate to wear an honors cord at commencement, and certainly the amount of savings that they get. I did want to point out to everyone, there's a QR code on the bottom. And what that is it's going to take you to the Hope SharePoint, which I'm going to show you right now. Just bear with me.
You want to pull that nice?
Yes, over.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to know right now.
Yep.
That was your, yeah.
All right. So you may see some familiar faces that are popping up right now. Yes, we're spotlighting SCG members on the Hope Scholarship SharePoint. So what we're trying to do with this is create a landing page that is internal as a repository for Hope information. That is for students, that's for faculty members, that's for advisors. Largely because if you think about our external facing website, that is for an external audience. So oftentimes that's for prospective students, and we don't want to muddy that by listing way too much information. So as you're looking at this, I would love to get your perspective. The landing page really goes over, first it's got different spaces where you can click on links depending on which audience you're part of. And then we have spotlights of different Hope Scholars over the past couple of years. Some outcomes, you have some data about Hope, how to contact us, a link to our Instagram, some stories in the news, etc. I will take you over to the student resources. And this is where we wanted to provide more in depth about eligibility criteria. So you have the eligibility checklist that is located on our website. This gives you a lot more information, such as if you're a double major, if you have dual enrollment credit, different things along those lines. There are very specific items that you can look at, including links to forms and different things like that. If you're going to participate in a study abroad, if you take advantage of CLEP for additional credits, if you're an adult learner, so different things like that. So I would love if you folks have the opportunity to kind of peruse this over time and see what's helpful and what would be more helpful. We have not yet launched it. We're doing a soft launch this semester, and largely we're sharing links out with faculty and staff. But we'd love to go live next semester in the fall semester. We're looking at getting a widget, a graphic that we will have a widget on our MyRic that will take you directly here to the Hope SharePoint. So what I would love to get from you folks is some feedback and what's helpful and what's not helpful. We also have an About Hope page that gives you some background information about the history of it. More spotlights on some of our friends. Hello, Tess.
Hi.
Some of the impact in terms of the number of students served, some testimonials of students from the first few years, the background on even why we selected the the honors cord that we have, it mirrors the state flags. So that's basically why I came here today, is to get a sense of what you think would be helpful for us as we think about launching this with students and what kind of revisions might be needed. And I know that there's probably not time for questions. I think you'll be directing them to Dante, is that correct?
Mhm.
So yeah, so thank you. That's what I have for today.
Thank you. President Gregorio?
Any questions about the website or any comments, make sure you take notes on what you'd want to say and make sure you just email it to me. Or actually, I'm going to be putting out a Google form about any questions that you might have for Jen and any questions you have about the website. And then also this fact sheet is going to be really important for anyone who's going to Rick Day at the State House tomorrow, to keep these in mind. And I'll go into more detail about that later. But yeah, let's give another round of applause.
Yeah. Professor Representative Levis.
Whatever your name is. Jen,
Hi.
I think it would be helpful
Yeah.
if you put together some basic Microsoft form for the students to actually evaluate
Yeah.
their SharePoint site, because they may give input that may be different than the input that you're looking for. And if you targeted for them the things that you actually, and then you left some open-ended
Sure.
questions, but actually a form that they could spend 5 minutes, taking a look at and then submitting to you, I think that'd be great. I think you will get a better response rate than just leaving it totally open-ended.
You can tell we both teach in political science. Thank you. I will definitely do that. I can send that to you, Dante.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Vice President Sullivan?
I was gonna say something real quick. Everyone's computers were dinging out because I just sent the link to everyone's email. So if you want to look at it on your computer, because I think it's like one of those things where you look at your laptop, not your phone. So that link is in your email under the agenda if you want to check that out.
Great, thank you. Once again, thank you, Dr. Jennifer Boulay. And we are going to move on to our next part of the meeting. There's no one here for open forum. So we're going to go to officer announcements. President Gregorio, you have the floor.
All right, so tomorrow is a very big day for those of you who do not already know. So obviously there is the concert tomorrow, which I'll let Tess speak more to, but I did want to say that I'm very proud of Tess and I'm very proud of the committee and all the work that you guys are doing. And I haven't talked to Miguel about this yet, but I think that if you're able to show proof of any written proof of getting other people to the concert, that I will excuse you for not writing or co-sponsoring a resolution. So if you could figure that out and send it to me, I will excuse you for that. Then also, Rick Day at the State House is tomorrow, which is obviously a really big deal for us. I got a breakdown of what the schedule is going to look like for that day, so I'm just going to go over it for anyone who is attending. So the plan is to be there by at least 1:45 for SCG's table, which is table number 7 at 1:45 p.m. Other SCG, you also all got an email about this, so it's in your email. Around 2:15, we're going to be at the SCG table. You're all going to get a shirt and a notebook to give to the legislators you're going to be meeting with. Share your story, impact Rick has had on your journey, and anything you're proud of. And then after your meeting, we're going back to the SCG table and you're going to receive folders to hand to legislators on the House and Senate floor. We're going to be taking a photo for all SCG people together, and then we're going to be taking a larger group photo. Then you'll be able to go to the House and Senate floors to hand out the folders to the legislators who will be heading to sit at the desks. Whatever that means. Last, you can go to the third floor gallery to watch the presentation of resolutions at the bell. So I'll go over really quickly the times that you guys are going to be meeting with the legislators. So at 2 p.m. In office room 319 on the third floor, we're going to be having students meeting with Senator David Tikoyan. So that'll be me, Marcus Pacheco, and Ben. We'll all be meeting with David Tikoyan. Rep Karen Alzate will be at 2:30 p.m. Which will be Marcus Rocha, Brianna Acosta, and Judy. Representative Scott Slater will be also at 2:30 p.m. That'll be Malcolm Mann and Alexandra Howlett. And then Representative Raymond Hull is also at 2:30, which will be Joseph and Monica. You'll be meeting with him. So if there's any extra questions about that, you can let me know. All of it is listed out in the email that you all should have received. I get the opportunity to speak in between President Warner and Dan McKee, so that'll be pretty awesome. I get to introduce him to that. Then I testified last Thursday, which is a really cool opportunity. Mike Kane isn't here, but he was super helpful, and he introduced me to a bunch of different legislators. And also I wanted to shout out Bormy, who also testified with me, who's also going to be at the State House representing Hope Scholarship. I also wanted to shout out Representative Rocha for all the work that he's been putting in recently. We really appreciate that. And also to check out the Anchor News the paper they just put out. Thank you, Ollie, for that. It was a really good paper, and you should all check it out. As for any of the new candidates. And then, so my last announcement is that even though this is a big week, we have a lot more to look forward to. So we still have our first election for the student body that's going to be happening, which Tess will give more details about. We're going to be having the budget meeting in 2 weeks, which Miguel will have more to say. And then lastly, I just want to say that I'm really proud of you guys and all the work you've done. So just keep it up. And yeah, I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. I yield the floor to Vice President Sullivan for her announcements.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I got a couple things. First big one is class office open today. So if you please vote for your class office, it's a big deal. There's some people here who are running. It really means a lot. Like, it's a lot of money that people sit on, and it's important that you make sure you vote for the right people to be in charge of it. It's on Rick Connect, and it should be pretty. If you message me about some of the problems, I've fixed most of them, but it's been really good practice for that when we do the student body vote, third time's a charm, it'll be perfect. Number two, that's scary. Number two is that petitions are already open. And these are for anybody who wants to be on Parliament next year. It doesn't have to be just if you want to run. If you want to do Parliament again next year, come take out a petition. But it's important that if you are running, I sent this little infographic that Nelsa made, she's the best. I sent this out the other day, but I'm gonna pass this around just so you have it physically, and I'm gonna go over the dates. Yeah, take one, pass it down. I'm gonna go over the dates real quick once these go around. But in the meantime, I can talk about town hall. Judy's been freaking putting in the hours. So shout out Judy. Has been in the hours about planning town hall. We have one next week on Tuesday. It's going to be in the residence. It's going to be more focused about like CELD and the Dean of Students office and dining, more for like resident students. And so that's going to be, it'd be great if you all could be there. The more people, the better. But more importantly, get students you think who don't have their voices heard as much. Like if you have a friend who lives on campus and they just kind of live in their dorm and that's it, just try and bring them out, What's else? Oh, the concert. That's tomorrow. First of all, thank you all so much for all of your support. We reached 300 tickets today. Yay! I'm really happy with that. I mean, would love more. But I'm really happy with that. It really is because so many of you have reached out to people and like told a friend to tell a friend and like really got the word out about this concert. It's my baby and I really appreciate it. That being said, if you message me tomorrow, probably not gonna respond, just how it is. But please come to the concert and have fun. It's after Rick Day at the State House. Like honestly, like unless I've already reached out to you, just come and have fun. Like we've worked so hard this semester. Like it's gonna be a great time. And it's also important to show like Rick wants to have concerts here. The students want to have that. So I really appreciate all your support. I also want to give a shout out to shout out Nicole, who subbed in today for Dell's. Shout out. Shout out Malcolm for finding someone to sub in, and shout out Judy and shout out where's Lucas Weber. I don't know where
Lucas.
Shout out Lucas for subbing in for Judy. So shout out for everybody to Dell's. Okay. Really quickly, I'm just gonna go over these dates with you all. So petitions are open for next year or for e-board. So if you want to run for an e-board position, make that decision quickly because the last day to take it out and so we can validate all of them and you can run is the 27th, right? Okay. So then I said after that is the 30th. That's when we're going to have the papers in the SCG office. You can sign up for each of e-board positions. That's what, the second you put your name down on that paper, put flowers everywhere. I don't care. Just put flowers everywhere, get your name out there. I think Marcus Rocha has buttons made, like just get real creative about how you're gonna get your name out there and get the students to vote for you. That declaration is gonna be open the 30th to the 3rd of April. And then the 6th, we're gonna have in Gauge 100, we're gonna have Anchor TV set up. John, I'm looking at you. I'm gonna have Anchor TV record you, and you're gonna give a speech, and then we might have like one question to ask for each what's the e-board position that's running? Yeah, each candidate. Dante's gonna be moderating that because I got class, but that'll be really interesting. And if you're not running, you should definitely go to watch because that's gonna be really interesting. I'm talking really fast. And then the 8th is when it's gonna be live on Rip Connect, and just like tell everybody, bring it up in class, have someone do it there, like just go crazy telling everyone you know to sign up for it. We really want to get a high number, and that's like students are excited about voting. After that, if you're running for parliamentary officers, that's going to be your speaker or deputy speaker. So I also want to clarify, if you're speaker or deputy speaker, you're not going to give a speech in Gauge. You're gonna give a speech when you're here because we're doing it differently. But that's gonna open on the 6th to run for parliament officer, and then on the 8th, sorry, I'm lost on my own stuff. On the 10th is when declaration closes, and then the 15th, that's when e-board election closes. So no more votes, and then parliament officer elections are gonna be here, just like how we do regular elections, same process. By then, we'll know who the new e-board's gonna be. So big things coming. Keep on to this. Keep a hold of this if you're running. I yield the floor to Speaker Tommy. I'm sorry for talking so much.
Okay, thank you. I now yield the floor to Secretary Colonis for her announcements.
Hey guys. I'm sure you guys are all aware, but Storgy voting is open. You can find it either, is it linked on our Instagram?
Yeah.
We'll make that happen. If not, the new students sent out an email, so it should be in your email. I'm trying to get it on Rick Connect too, but that closes this Friday. Just a reminder again for the Storgies, it's on Thursday, April 23rd from 5 to 9. It's going to be at Roads on the Patuxent. If you guys have been there before, if you're Rhode Island native, maybe you know that. And yeah, last thing I have is just concert. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sure everyone in this room knows how it is to run an event, to plan an event. So let's support SCG just like how we support you guys. I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. I now yield the floor to Treasurer Hoyos for his announcements.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to remind you all that next Parliament meeting will be the budget meeting. So we will go over all of the club budgets that Finance Commission recommended during the budget hearings. And this will be like the last step of the budget process for this school year. So everybody is required to be at that meeting. So come to the meeting. If you're unexcused, I cannot pay you for the whole semester, so don't just email Ben if you can't make it, or sorry, Speaker Tommy. And then Nikita will be sending out the budget recommendations next Monday, so the 23rd. Review those materials before Parliament on Wednesday, April 1st. And I'm going to pass around this confidentiality agreement. This is so that you guys, so that people don't, after this meeting, go asking club questions and talking to their friends about what's happening before things are finalized, because that's inappropriate and we're not gonna have that. So just pass that around. Everybody who wasn't at the budget hearings has to sign it and turn that into Nikita at this meeting. And this is your warning now, don't talk about stuff that happens during the budget process and talk about that to people outside of Parliament, please and thank you. And then, yeah, so just fill it out now and then you can turn it in today to Nikita. And when we do the budget meeting, next Parliament meeting, the whole Parliament meeting will be for the budget. It's only that. Just keep in mind as you're looking through the club budgets, we cut all the events past October, November, all the things, all the money for capital improvement and clothing, and then money that has not been used for the past year or two, money that did not have a clear rationale. And when we asked clubs questions, there was a lot of times where they didn't even know what they were asking money for. So we just got rid of that. And then paying student members from the wrong line, that happened with at least one club. So for example, like there's sub-board and e-board, and they should be paid from the appropriate line. And we just, with that one club, we like changed that, and then they can fix that next year. And then clubs that should be under athletics and performing and fine arts commission, we also zeroed out for next school year, because we should have never funded them in the first place. And also their involvement and their attendance has not been proven to us. So yeah, just think of those things, and then you'll have their budget spreadsheets from the past, like this year and last year too. So when you look through their request and what we recommended for them, you can look at their past budgets and see, oh, that's why it's reduced because they didn't spend money. Like you'll have all those materials. And again, that's why this confidentiality agreement is important, so that you're not sharing that stuff with people before the meeting or being inappropriate about it. Do you guys have any questions right now about that? It's kind of a lot of information. I can send an email with those bullets that I talked about.
Representative Butsena?
Just to clarify, that meeting you said at the start that we can't miss is just next week's normal parliament?
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks, and instead of normal parliament, it's that.
Okay.
And all of Finance Commission will be there, so there will be people that you guys haven't like seen before at Parliament. That's because they're on Finance Commission. They're gonna help me answer questions because they vote and I don't. I just run the meeting. And then there's also going to be unsatisfied clubs at that meeting. So everybody who's not satisfied with what Finance Commission decided, that's why Finance Commission isn't final. Like this is the decision-making body of SCG. Parliament is, so that's why they can say unsatisfied or satisfied. They can appeal to Parliament, and then Parliament ultimately has the last say.
Representative Goldberg?
This is Robert. Where on this am I signing anything?
Where are you signing?
Where should I put my name? There's member and representative. I'm
Oh,
You put, so,
thank you.
yeah,
sure.
Thank you.
you print your name up here on the blank. Member is where you sign, SCG representative is where Miguel will sign.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
You do this stuff.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you. Cool. That's it for my announcements today.
Thank you. We're gonna move on to me. I have no announcements, so I'm just gonna get on to the leaves for today. There's a couple, so please bear with me. First, Isabella Baugh has requested a standing late leave for the rest of the year. She has tennis practice right up until Parliament, so she might just be a little late. So I'm seeking a motion to approve a standing late leave for Isabella Baugh for the remainder of the semester. Motion by Representative Rocha, seconded by Representative Howlett. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approved. Nielsa Tajin, still under the weather, so I'm seeking a motion to approve Nielsa Tajin's leave for tonight. Motion by Representative Rocha, seconded by Representative Sequin. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Next, Ted Zito had like a farewell party for one of his retiring colleagues tonight, so he's not able to make it. So I am seeking a motion to approve Ted Zito's leave. Motion by Representative Buzina, seconded by Representative Glennon. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Leave approved. Next, Cindy Kozel was not able to make it in. She had an Office of Post-Secondary Council meeting to attend to. So I'm seeking a motion to approve Cindy Kozel's leave for tonight. Motion by Representative Baugh, seconded by Representative Rocha. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Leave approved. Next is Caden Meza. He's at his cousin's wedding in Michigan today, or at some point this week, so that's fun. So I'm seeking a motion to approve Caden Meza's leave for tonight. Motion by Deputy Speaker LaRose, seconded by Representative Howlett. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passed. Next is Chris Russell. He's got a brutal midterm exam tomorrow, so he's got to study hard for that tonight. So I'm seeking a motion to approve Chris Russell's leave. Motion by Representative Mann, seconded by Representative Buzina. Is there any discussion? And I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Donovan Dodson has to leave a little bit early tonight for a family matter. So I'm seeking a motion to approve Jonathan Dawson's early leave for tonight. Motion by Representative Howlett, seconded by Representative Glennon. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass. And then lastly, Michael Kane is helping out with that OPC meeting tonight, so he's not able to make it in. So I'm seeking a motion to approve Michael Kane's leave for tonight. Motion by Representative Reed, seconded by Representative Mann. Is there any discussion? Then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Those are all my leaves. So now I yield the floor to Deputy Speaker LaRose for her announcements.
Hey, people. So I have some exciting news. As I said, I have been working my butt off. It's been about a month since I got elected, and we have 2 town halls on the books. I've been meeting with admin. I've been having people shout at me, so that's really exciting. So Tess kind of touched upon the town hall that's next week. That's res life oriented. There is going to be a second town hall that is kind of more geared towards like everybody, like, you know, I don't know, just Jack Warner's going to be there, Ted Zito will be there, the Military Resources Center is going to be there, and Anastasia Rodriguez will be there. That's going to be April 8th from 12 to 1:30 in Gauge 100. And if you notice on the Rick Connect, I did spell Gauge wrong, and I'm going to fix that, so I'm sorry. I caught that today. But also, I just want to remind everybody that shadowing has been going really well, and if you're interested in my position, you should really send me an email and come visit during my office hours and shadow me, because I don't know, it's really cool and you should run for my position. Also, I met with Lucas Weber about annual survey. Shout out Lucas Weber. He's been helping me a lot with Qualtrics and all of the online stuff that comes with this position. So I'll have more updates about that probably in an email or something, but that'll be starting soon, and surveying has been going well. And today I met with Sarah Phillips, who is the institutional research and planning member at RIC, and that was really helpful for surveying information and how to go about the annual survey. She worked with Frank, so that was nice. And also I just want to shout out Ollie again and kind of echo what they said earlier, because the interview's been going really well. So you should, if you're running for an e-board position, you should send a message to Ollie to an interview.
Please do.
Yeah. Also, conditions and services hit quorum, guys, so you can vote on things now. But those are all my announcements for now. So I yield the floor back to Speaker Tomini.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to our next part, reports. So I yield the floor to Treasurer Hoyos to give a budget report for finance.
So this is where we show you guys the magic number. So, again, for the new people on Parliament, we decided to set a cap this year of how much we're willing to go into past the general fund.
Rollbacks.
Oh yeah, past what was rolled back from last year. And this year that's $75,000. And so far we've given out 57,491 over. Yeah. So that is where we're at right now. And then I kind of made that table to the right that says how much money to allocate at each finance meeting, because we didn't have that before, and we were just kind of guessing like when to give clubs money. So that kind of gives us a better idea of how much we have at each meeting. And then, yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me right now about this? Okay. If we hit 75,000, I'm gonna push for Finance Commission to stop meeting and hearing club requests.
Representative Chico?
Or just, oh, sorry.
Miguel, I heard some gasps in the room when you mentioned the number. I think it's important to note that we agreed on that hard cap to spend over what we actually had in hand. So we're actually reducing the debt by 50% this year, and I think we're on target to do that.
Yeah, do you have the stuff from last year?
Bear with me, there's a lot of tables on this. I just gotta find the right one. Okay, here it is. Fiscal year 24-25 allocations, which would be last year. So these are the Finance Commission allocations. So this is what was allocated by Finance Commission in the year. For
So,
context, sorry, this is what's been allocated so far this year.
yeah. So we cut back a lot of spending this year, cause we have to, we can't just keep spending that much. And then, hopefully, whoever's on Finance Commission next year, please continue that trend. Do you guys have any other questions? Thank you for pointing that out, Marcus. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to update you guys. Treasurer's supposed to give like a monthly budget report. I did it last semester. I wanted to do it this semester, but we kept having days off. So in April, we'll do another one. And then that's it for me for the budget report. Do I have to yield the floor?
Yeah.
I yield the floor to Speaker Tomlin.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna move on to SOC minutes from Secretary Colonis, who's not here. Representative Campbell, would you like the floor to present them? And then you can make a motion to approve them once people have looked them over. Okay, you have the floor.
Okay. They're the minutes from. Just look over the minutes and see if like everybody's name is on it, everything's spelled correctly.
There's errors.
There
Yeah.
are errors.
Okay. We did amend them, so I'm going to read out the amendments that we made. So, one of the Mr. Russells, there is an L missing at the end of his name, so we added an L. Under the motion to approve the minutes of February 17th, we had to add amended in front of the motion to approve the agenda. We also had to add amended in front of the motion to approve the minutes. And we also had to change, there's a motion to revise the Anchor TV Constitution. The motion after that says Education Student Association. We're just changing that to Anchor TV. Those are all the amendments.
Thank you. Representative Dempsey?
Yeah, also there's one other one I just caught. Underneath on page 2, underneath Education Student Association, there's two motions. The first motion says that they are going to approve the amendments to the Constitution, and the second one says they're going to approve the Constitution, and it's gonna approve the Constitution. For the second motion, that should say, approve the Education Association Constitution as amended. Because you amended it in the first motion, but then you didn't mention that you amended it. You approved the amendment in the second. So as amended needs to be added to that motion on page 2.
Would you like to move to make that amendment?
I move to amend the amended minutes of SOC on February 17th to include all changes stated.
Okay.
All the ones she mentioned and all the one I just mentioned, all changes stated.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by President DiGregorio. Is there any discussion on the motion? Representative Mann?
Yeah, my name's not in members present.
Oh.
I kind of feel FOMO.
Would you like to move to amend it? Would you like to move to make the
Yes, I
amendment?
wanna add that to the amendments.
Okay,
Can we do that?
seconded by Representative Reed. Is there any discussion on Representative Mann's amendment? Okay, then I call the question to make sure his last name is in the in
My
the
full name.
attendance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, amendment made. And then I believe there's still the question pending on the floor to approve all the amendments. So I call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, amendments, meetings are good, are passed. And now, would someone like to make a motion to approve the amended SOC minutes? Okay, Vice President Sullivan? Make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all of the SOC minutes.
Okay, seconded by Representative Mihalos. Is there any discussion on approving the SOC minutes? As amended, thank you. If there's no discussion, I call the question to approve the amended SOC minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes passed. What's next? Old business. So I'm gonna yield the floor to President DiGregorio to talk about his committees.
Yep. So I know we all talked about this last time, so I'm gonna make it quick. I brought all the amendments that we talked about that we wanted to have, so we can just approve the amendments and then move on. We'll start with the legislative committee. For the legislative committee, I would like to amend the minimum amount of students to be 7 instead of 5 in section 4.01. For section 5.01, the chair will now be appointed by the speaker. And those are the only amendments that I have for the legislative committee. So I'd like to motion to make those amendments. Second by anyone? Second by Representative Acosta?
Seconded by Representative Acosta. And now is there any discussion on the amendments made? Treasurer Hoyos?
I think that all the other committees have a quorum of 5 members. Do you
Yeah,
think-
but this committee is different because I listed out explicitly the composition of it and what every member would be, and it added up to at least 7. I had it as 5 before.
Okay, Representative Dempsey?
Yeah, I think I mentioned, well, shouldn't it be 6, because you say at least 2, and then you say at least 4. 2 and 4 is 6. So
Oh, I
7.
thought we changed it from that to 7, so we can amend it back to, we could change the amendment to 6.
You have 5, then you want the 7, you're like in the middle.
Okay.
6, right, the 6 would be the,
Mhm.
right?
Representative Howlett?
I might be totally mistaken, but this is like in my memory. I thought that the reason it was 7 because of voting. I thought it was like had to do with vote, like that way it would be like a majority because it's an.
Oh,
elect
yeah,
member.
yeah. I did forget to list this, that amendment, also in my amendment would be changing to Article 10, which would make the approval of amendments by SCG Parliament majority. So, but that does not have to do with the number 7, but I do appreciate that. You were right, that was a good thing to mention. So I'd like to add that to my amendment and then change the minimum from 7 to 6.
Thank you. Treasurer Hoyos?
Section 4.01, A2. It says at least 4 at-large student members.
Yep.
Can we say student parliament members?
Yeah.
Okay, just to clarify.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you like to make a motion to add these amendments that Chet?
Yeah, so
mentioned?
I can do that really quick. So I'll make a motion to change the minimum in section 4.01 to 6 members. I'd like to change 4.01A to say at-large student parliament members. In section 5.01, I'd like the chair to be appointed by the speaker, and in Article 10, I would like the amendment process to be approved by SCG Parliament majority.
Seconded by Representative Mello. I call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, those amendments are passed. There is still a motion to finalize these amendments on the table. So we're still open for discussion on any amendments to these policies.
I'd also like to clarify that these committees would be implemented next year. So for 2026, 2027.
Treasurer Hoyos?
When you're talking about electing a chair in section 5, officers, when you talk about electing a chair and a vice chair, do you have to specify what majority is? Like if it's simple majority or 2/3 or whatever.
They can figure out, I think the chair should be in charge of what that process looks like. I don't think it needs to be specified per committee on how they want to run their elections. And for the chair, I just amended it to be that it would be appointed by the speaker, not elected.
Okay, thank you. Representative Levis?
Dante, are these the only 2 new committees that we're gonna be voting on for this academic year?
Correct.
Okay, and what happened to the academic committee that was originally supposed to be like under the deputy speaker when you all made that whole presentation?
Mhm.
What happened to that idea about having an academic committee?
Yeah, so I don't have an academic committee policy, but I do have policy for the role that was going to be in charge of that committee.
Okay,
We just did not have enough time. I said no more policy after April. And our next meeting is the budget hearings meeting, so we're not gonna do really much that day besides just budget stuff to make everyone's lives easier. But I do plan on passing any of the policies I didn't do, because there's a number that just like simply couldn't be done, like the inventory policy, because there isn't space in a building for us to do it. That stuff is all gonna be given to the strategic planning committee to be used for implementation next year. So that's like part of the point of these committees is for the long-term implementation of ideas that we couldn't get to.
okay. I just wanna go on record that I think it's a miss
Mhm.
that we do not have an academic voice except for my little voice without Melissa. Although it's better, my voice is a little better than 2 weeks ago, but I think it's a miss for SCG to not have a presence around academic standards, academic policies. So I understand there's only so much that you all can do. But I think this is also my point of last parliament, is that at some point we should actually ask the faculty members to do something specific as opposed to just giving random updates, but having us do jobs that are helpful to you all.
Yeah, also, I mean, if people feel particularly passionate about these roles, we can always still bring them. If people really feel like this is something we should do, but it just doesn't seem like we have a lot of time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Representative Pacheco?
So I brought it up to you at the end of the last meeting. I think we still have like the same problem here for the committee, where if the committee is electing its chair amongst themselves, which is kind of fine, I guess, but
But I just amended it.
where's the new change?
I just did it right now. Like during this meeting, I just said
Oh,
that
I'm
the
sorry.
chair's gonna appoint them, yeah.
So the chair's going to appoint them?
Mhm.
Okay, and then the chair's gonna appoint the chair of the committee, or they're gonna appoint the members?
The speaker appoints the chair and the members.
Then it's just kind of like the speaker runs that whole committee, right? They
Yeah.
decide who gets to be on it and they decide, so like, how does that committee maintain its independence from the speaker? Shouldn't like general parliament elect a chair and then the speaker could
Well,
appoint? the members?
I mean, Ben, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, I mean, it's the same way that every other committee is held accountable. You know, I appoint every single person, besides like the chair, obviously.
Right, but the chair is elected by Parliament, right?
Mhm.
So if the Parliament has a problem with the committee or what it's doing, it could always remove that Parliament member. Otherwise here, this is purely like just under the control of the speaker. Parliament doesn't have a way to pull someone back out of the committee, like we need to check on power and that.
Thank you. We're gonna hear from Deputy Speaker LaRose next, and then Representative Jakes.
I feel like it's kind of comparable to like, I'm just thinking from my own perspective, I run conditions and services and I have parliament and non-parliament members and I run that committee. Obviously, I'm asking people to join, I'm not appointing them, but it's kind of the same. I mean, like,
No, but we
Hold
could
on,
remove
Representative
you.
Pacheco, let her finish, and then we're gonna go to Representative Jakes, please.
I'm just saying, I feel like it's comparable to kind of how all of the other committees run theirs.
It's not, it's 100% not.
Representative Pacheco.
It's
I
just,
yield the floor.
Okay, Representative
Yeah.
Jakes.
oh yeah, another thing to remember, it's like opposite the committees Dante appoints to, like Parliament votes to confirm those. It would be, I'm assuming it's the same way for the speaker, right?
Mhm.
Am I correct on that?
Yeah, you're right.
So Parliament would have to do the same.
This is true. They could just deny the appointments.
Wait, you guys, Matt, we cannot hear what Matt's saying at all.
Sorry, I know.
No,
I
it's
can.
okay.
Do you want to say it again?
Yeah, what I was saying is that, well, so when Dante, for example, makes committee appointments to like his different committees, Parliament votes to either confirm or deny. So when the speaker does it, it'd be the same thing. They would either vote to confirm his appointments or say, no, we're not good for these appointments. So you
That's a very
guys
good
do
point.
have a say on that.
Thank you. President Gregorio, would you like to respond to any of the?
No, I think Matt
comments?
kind of just cleared it up pretty well. Take the floor.
Oh, yeah, Representative Pacheco?
We don't have a system to remove the people after they've been appointed. So like if a committee starts to do things that Parliament doesn't approve, we would have to go through like a three-handed process to just reject whatever the committee does and then wait to appoint a new speaker or remove the speaker to appoint a new chair. It just doesn't make sense. Why don't we just make it so that it's like any other chaired position where you have to get a separate election to be the chair, and then they can make their own appointments to the committee like we do with all the other committees.
President Gregorio?
I mean, we could do that, but I mean, I think the process of removal from committees now works. And I think that if it functioned in the same way, it would be fine, but it seems like Matt also wants to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna just say that not every school committee has a chair that's elected to the board. It could be SEC, for example, is a prime one. Academic committee, when it was originally going like before COVID, that was another committee without an e-board election, where the chair was chosen by the president. So
Thank you. Is there any more discussion on the amendments to these two policies?
Oh, just legislative.
Just legislative policy. Thank you. If there is no more discussion, then I call the question to approve the amendments to the legislative policy committee policy. I got all in favor. So
Just the
this is-
amendments.
So the amendments, the changes that like we just talked about and got approved, this is just to like approve those amendments. So not to approve the whole policy. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Representative Pacheco, you're okay. Are there any abstentions? Okay. Passed. We're gonna move on to strategic planning next.
Yep.
Okay.
So, same thing, I have amendments, Will can check my math, cause apparently I keep freaking messing that up. So for section 3.01, I move to amend the minimum to 8, is that right? Is 8 right?
What section?
It's section 3.01.
You said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, at least 2 non-parliaments, 2 faculty staff, that's 2, 4, 5. And advisor when available. I think it's 7.
Oh, 7, okay, so maybe I mixed up my numbers then. So this committee, I will amend to have a minimum of 7.
I mean, and also you say, SCG advisor if available, so you count that A or you count that.
No, that's just if available, yeah.
Yes, I would say for clarification, the advisor, just like on finance.
Mhm.
it's-
Yeah, similarly to finance, yeah.
So it's,
Yeah, we'll say so. Okay, I'm gonna amend 3.01 to have a minimum of 7 members. And then changing the process in 4.01 with the chair, same way we did with the legislative committee. And
Going if you're making a motion and then.
Yeah.
go to Treasurer Lucas.
and same thing with the amendment where it'll be approved by the majority of parliament.
Thank you. Can I get a second to his motion? Seconded by President Sullivan. We will now move to discussion on the changes he just proposed. Treasurer Hoyos?
So I'm lost in this discussion. So I would like to talk about all the amendments, I don't know, like write them down and then do them all at once because I have no idea what's happening right now. I'm gonna be so honest with you. So I move to kill the motion on the table and then discuss after all the amendments and then make a motion with all the amendments at the same time.
Okay. Seconded by Representative Mann. This kind of a motion moves right to a vote. So I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion is killed. Now we're gonna move to the amendments one by one. So President DiGregorio, I'll give you the floor to discuss the first one.
Okay. First of all, I would like to clarify that these are all things that we talked about at the last meeting. So if you do not know what's going on, you should probably pay attention to what's going on earlier, because these are all things that we discussed already. And it makes us able to go through these amendments a lot quicker. So in 3.01, I'm changing the minimum amount of members to 7, simply because I was wrong with my math, which I did wrong again. So the minimum is, I'm just changing the minimum number to 7. So you wanna do one at a time, right? Or did you wanna do them all at the same time?
All at the same time.
Yeah, so we can
Okay.
discuss them one by one. and then
Okay,
we'll-
so is there any discussion on the minimum?
Representative Pacheco?
How is it not 6 people? It's 4 non-parliament, 2 non-parliament, 4 at-large students, and then what, the chair has to be selected from the committee, so they don't count as an extra person, that's 6.
Oh, so my math was right.
So, no, because you had 5 to 9.
at least one current member of CG council.
At least
Oh, we're on strategic.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, alright.
Okay, yeah, we're on strategic planning right now. Sorry. They're 2 very similar policies.
Did we fix the other one too? Because the other one's wrong too.
Yeah, we fixed the other one.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion on this first change? Okay, then you can move on to the next one.
Okay, the next thing is, I believe, section 4.01, which is changing the process from election of the chair to appointment by the speaker. Any questions about that?
Do you have anything, Representative Pacheco?
Just the same thing.
Same thing.
that I brought up before.
Treasurer Hoyos?
I agree with Representative Pacheco's concerns about like dividing up the power. Because like all the other committees, the president appoints the members. And then if the committee chair has a bunch of people on their committee who are their friends, then they're not gonna remove those people and those people aren't gonna say anything. And then how is that gonna get to Parliament? And they can just only appoint their friends and then not remove their friends, and then everybody gets a paycheck at the end of the semester. So I think that the committee members should be appointed by the president and the chair should be elected within the committee.
So to respond to that, we just spoke about this, that you could just vote to deny the appointments the same way you vote to deny the presidents.
But somebody has to bring that to Parliament.
No, the speaker would bring it to Parliament and they're subject to approval or denial by Parliament.
Representative Pacheco?
The same speaker that's making their own appointments and now controlling two different
You don't control what people vote for.
subcommittees. You can if you select you're selecting who chairs the meeting and who would be doing the voting.
And then Parliament can deny it.
Okay, we're gonna go to Representative Dempsey next.
Yeah, but like the president does, when he does the general committee appointments, he doesn't vote for that. He just announces them and then the vote goes out to us. He has no personal stake in it. He can't even vote on it. And neither can the speaker in this case. He's just bringing it up. So yes, he could put his friends on it, but I mean, he can't sit in here and vote for his friends. It's up to everyone else to vote for them.
Go ahead, Representative Pacheco.
So, right, but in the current system, the president makes the appointments. So they could stack a committee with, I don't know, whoever they want to be in there. But the counter to that is that Parliament has elected the chair. So the chair controls like Miguel does in finance, he controls the pace and what we're gonna talk about, what gets brought up to the committee, et cetera. So there's like a split of power there. It's not all just one person with the ability to control all that. The person who chairs, like finance, for example, has to be elected by Parliament to execute whatever they said they were going to do in their speech when they get elected, right? And then the president gets to appoint representative members. There's no conflict there. In this situation, the speaker is both appointing the membership, appointing the chair. They just basically have complete control over these committees without a check from some other group. And yes, you could bring it up to Parliament and we could shoot it down, but Parliament would have to be aware that corruption is happening, and who would be bringing that to their attention if one person is stacking the entire group. And do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just.
Okay, we're gonna go to Representative Dempsey next, and then President DiGregorio, and then Representative Jakes. So you have the
I'll
floor.
just mention the point we talked, what Treasurer Hoyos does with the agendas, because it sounds like you're talking about the agenda, he sets the agenda. Like all the other e-board and parliamentary officers set their agenda on their respective committees. They might set the agenda, but then we have to approve it or deny it or amend it. I mean, it's never happened before, but anyone who doesn't want to listen to programming, for example, could say, no, I object to programming being on the agenda. So like, he might set the agenda, but we vote on the agenda. So we have the power if we wanted to in the committees. And we do in Parliament with the big agenda to go and strike anything we want. Or say no, or try to strike it.
May I respond?
We're gonna go to President DiGregorio next.
Well, I also have some things that might help you feel a little bit better about this, because I forgot I included this in my own policy. So there's so many things. In both committee policies, I have required work evidence as a requirement of the committee to continue surviving. They have to report to the e-board. I don't know how often I have it, but they have to show proof of work being done. And also the committee is subject to review. I believe it was either every 1 or 2 years. So there's like more checks probably on this committee than any committee we've ever made. Even under like our current rules with how I appoint people, the committees necessarily don't have the same check. So while your concerns, I do think are valid, I mean, what's in this policy might actually be worth bringing to our other policies as well, just because this helps them be accountable to Parliament and the e-board probably more clearly.
Representative Jakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, in here you do have the responsibilities, but as well, in general, the president and treasurer, like, can go in and make sure that the club, well, it's not clubs, committees are actually doing what they're supposed to do. And the treasurer can withhold pay if they're not actually, like, if you go through the minutes and see, like, meeting after meeting, things aren't getting done, you can hold them accountable for that. You could also hold them accountable for that. So that's all I have to say on that.
Treasurer Hoyos.
So that's true, and that's a good point. However, there's nothing stopping a committee from just never bringing their minutes to Parliament. There's nothing stopping a committee from lying in their minutes if everybody is appointed by the same person who also like might be on the committee. And then their expulsions would have to be read out by that person too, would have to be presented to Parliament by that same person who has heavy conflict of interest. So yeah, I'm trying not to repeat myself, but that's it.
Okay. President DiGregorio?
I move the previous question.
Okay, just a point of information, this kind of motion is to end discussion and move the motion on the table, the question pending, to a vote. Currently, the question pending is just to approve the amendments that we first talked about. This requires a 2/3 majority, so I'm looking for a second. Seconded by Representative Campbell. I now call the question. All in favor, and please show your hand. So all in favor. Okay. That looks like 2/3 majority. Okay, any opposed? Okay, 3, I believe, 4. Okay, I now call the previous question, which is to approve the amendments. Dante, would you just like to go over your amendments again, just so people are on the same page?
So really quickly, my amendments are that the minimum would be, 7. The chair would be appointed by the speaker, and that the amendments would be any amendments to the committee policy would be subject to approval by SCG Parliament majority.
Okay, I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Show of hands, please. I'm looking for a majority. That looks like a majority. Thank you, guys. All opposed? 1, 4 people opposed. Any abstentions? Okay, amendments
Can you,
made.
if you had just opposed that motion, can you keep your hand high? I have to give a who opposed, not just a number. Rios, Pacheco. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I motion to approve the strategic planning committee policy.
Seconded by Vice President Sullivan. We'll now move to discussion. If there is no discussion, I call the question. All in favor of approving the strategic planning committee policy?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Keep them high. Is it the same floor? Okay.
Okay. All right. Any abstentions? Policy passed. We didn't do the first one.
You did not approve
Okay.
the first one.
And then I motion to pass the legislative committee policy.
Okay, I'm looking for a second. Seconded by Vice President Sullivan. Is there any discussion? Okay, then I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye, same people.
Same four, all right.
Okay, any abstentions? Okay, the amended policy is passed. All right, well, that was all the discussion for that. We're gonna move on to new business. So I yield the floor to Representative Rocha to talk about his resolution. You have the floor.
Okay, I'll give you like first like a minute or two to like actually like look over it and read it too. Alright, so Representative Montrons and I, we're bringing this resolution to the table because, you know, we have a lot of different constituencies between different schools, different clubs, stipend orgs, and like even Greek life. And while we're not doing at-large constituencies for our next school year, you know, there is a possibility that they do come back. So we want to make sure multiple groups are represented in these constituencies. So we want to add a military-connected constituency. So that would include like active military personnel, veterans, or even family of those military-connected personnel. And then otherwise, if we decide that constituencies are no longer what SCG wants to do entirely, and we just want to do completely at large, then be it further resolved would be that there would be a seat for representative for that population either way. Just like there's staff representation and faculty and those different positions. we want to make sure that we have representation across the board.
Thank you. Would you like to move to approve your resolution, and then we'll go to discussion, so you can make a motion to.
I'd like to make a motion to approve my military connected constituency resolution.
Okay, thank you. Looking for a second. Seconded by Representative Campbell. We will now move to discussion. I'd like to run this the same way I did last meeting with Representative Goldberg. If you have a comment, a question, you'll have the floor, and then I'll direct you back to Representative Rocha to respond. So we are now moving to discussion. Representative Howlett.
Hi. So I don't know totally understanding the whole like scope of this. So I know that we have obviously a representation of all different clubs and organizations, but we don't have like a literal member that's dedicated to that club, right? Like it's not like, oh, I'm a Wixon member, but I'm not the Wixon representative, right? So we have that for some of our professors, which I'm maybe adding like academic things. I'm just not sure completely why this is necessary. If I mean, I don't know anybody's personal life, but we could have people who are actively serving right now. We could have people who have family members who are actively serving. So I think there already is that representation built in just because we're a group of people from different backgrounds. So I don't totally understand why they need a specific role in SCG. And I don't know how the military totally aligns when it comes to our academia or representing their student body anyway. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. Representative Rocha, if you have anything you'd like to respond with?
So there's a large population of us that are part of the school. If you guys have representation from athletes, or why are you opposing military having representation if an athlete can? My question to you.
Can I respond?
Yes, and then we're gonna move on to
I'm
our
not
next
trying
person.
to-
Sorry, what I saw.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the military, I totally agree with you. It's part of our student population. It should absolutely be represented. But I'm saying that you're a student athlete, right? But you're not the student athlete for SCG. Like we have, I think that is, unless I'm misunderstanding, that is what you're proposing, right? So what I'm saying is that we already have that representation likely, or you could have some, like, you could have somebody who's interested in SCG who's already connected. To the military.
Yeah, maybe let's, it didn't answer my question.
Would someone like to give a point of information of like what our constituencies? Okay, Vice President Sullivan.
Hi, so last year, constituencies are where there was a Wixon constituency and that there was someone who was like the Wixon representative, I think it was Jack. And with that, you could only get signatures from Wixon members, you can only get it from commuters, or you can only get it from athletes, right? And so that's why but right now, after, what happened was that over the summer, we were just really struggling to get members, so we opened it up to everyone's an at-large representative. So if you look at some people's name cards, like it'll say like Marcus says commuter, Marina says athlete, right? But some of them say at-large, because then it was after we changed that. Does that make sense?
Okay, I think more with you.
Thank you. We're gonna
May I
move
get
on
a point of
to,
information?
yeah, go ahead.
So basically, the whole constituency thing, 'cause I'm sure a lot of you weren't here when this
Right.
all started. So so before COVID, this is how SCG always ran. Like you would have like at large, you'd have commuter, you would have representatives from each school, you would have one. In some cases, you would have one from the stipend orgs, you would have them from the different classes, things like that. Last year, me and my executive council brought a Parliament policy that would have constituencies, different constituencies for different things to represent. Like obviously athletic one we added one for Greek life, we added some other ones. But over the summer, this year they have struggled to get members in because there were some flaws with the constituency policy we passed. However, so they decided to freeze it for the time being, so that way they can get more members on the Parliament. But this would be a good, but I will say that, well, sorry, what was I trying to say? Sorry. What I'm trying to say is that so they passed that, but now it's slow. But now you guys have the opportunity to decide whether or not you want to stay as at large and have where any member can just go get a petition, join Parliament, or do you have it where it's like you represent with specific, like do you represent your school, do you represent your major, do you represent your class? Like that's a decision for you all to make for next year when that time comes.
Okay, thank you. If either of you would like to respond, you have the floor, and then we're gonna go to Vice President Sullivan.
I'm trying to find the correct parts, like look at it correctly. However, just to say for a sec, the 8 constituencies that are listed in the elections policy are like our Rhode Island, schools of Rhode Island College, at-large commuter, at-large resident, classes, just as their non-student representatives, class officers, stipend receiving orgs, Greek life, graduate students, and non-student representatives. So, you know, all due respect, and I'm not trying to hit it because I think it was a valid question. But just like you could say that there could be, you know, military connected people within here already, there could also be people that are, you know, they're already commuters, they're already residents, they're already part of Greek life, they're already in a stipend receiving org. So if we don't have, I don't think it's too much to add on one for military connected personnel if we already have these subgroups in here.
Thank you. Vice President Sullivan?
Yeah, so a couple things. First one is, I will say in the policy that just got passed, the new election one, I did take out constituencies. So it could be different whatever happens next year if you want to, maybe every year it'll flip flop and they'll be gone and back, but for next year, currently right now, there's not constituencies in the elections policy. But if you do bring it up, I had a question, and maybe this is an Akita question, but so the way that, like, we're talking about where you need signatures specifically from your constituencies, like commuters or Wixon, right? You need to get specifically like Wixon members, or you need specifically whatever, right? Is there a way to find out who, so it'd have to be like military personnel or people who were veterans who did it, how we would be able to get that constituency list of people who competed? Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Oh, incredible. Michael Cunningham from that field.
From downtown.
Yeah. Incredible. Okay, well, that was my main question.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, thank you. Just so you guys know, I did say I was gonna like shoot back to you after we get people, but there's a lot of people want to speak right now, and I want to make sure we get through them, and then I'll give you back the floor to comments. So we're gonna go to Pacheco, then Dempsey, Vizina, Mann, and then Professor Levis. Representative Levis. Your class in the morning, right? So Representative Pacheco.
Okay, so I get having the little tag on the constituency thing. My only question is about and I think it would be fine if we added it to the constituency option, so if they come back again and they keep boomeranging, like why not military at large, like who, not a big deal. My only question is if in the second part, like be it further resolved if the bylaws are updated. So basically if we retain the system we have now where everyone's just at large, then I guess my question is like what would that look like? To still have, like, would they just be able to add it to their tag? Like I still have commuter even though technically I only needed at large people, or?
So the way I was trying to write the further resolved is that if constituencies are like done with like we're staying at large completely, then we would rather make a seat for that representative. And it's not necessarily a situation where they have to get those like 50 signatures, let's just put that number out there. It would be like how like Dante brought to having, I think it's 2 staff representatives, Michael Kane and Michael Ward. So we brought that to Parliament and like asked if we could have those 2 seats and then talked about appointing those 2 specific people.
So you.
Okay, hold on. Nikita?
Just for Parliament to consider, those seats that are held by faculty reps, staff rep, things like that, those are obviously, they don't need to go out and get signatures. As you'll see in a few meetings, they are nominated by student parliament. And then usually I am the one to reach out to like union reps and things like that, and then they are appointed. So that is the difference between like the permanent seats and the seats you guys want.
Thank you. Representative Dempsey?
I was just gonna say that in the second line, you're talking about there are several other constituencies and student organizations and stuff. I just want to point out, we do have a student organization called Student Veterans Association that is under our banner. We do fund. Right now, they're kind of inactive this year, but they have been active in the past. We even pay for their conferences and stuff. So veterans do have a voice of some kind in SCG through that club. And secondly, I mean, the Vice President Sullivan said the constituency right now is kind of dead because we're not inactive, because we're not doing it. So it's kind of, so this is kind of a moot point. But if it ever did come back, you could just simply add like an extra at-large representative or something like that. You don't necessarily have to go and make one a military one, because the thing is the more specific you make the constituency, the harder you're going to make it for the people to fill that seat because you need 50 signatures on your petition. And let's say they can't scrounge up 50 veterans. Maybe there aren't even, I mean, maybe there probably are, but maybe there aren't 50 veterans. It's like, you want everyone to be represented, but also you want like large pools of people to be represented. You want to represent a large, kind of like a large constituency, and small ones too, but there's only so many seats, so you gotta try to represent the majority of the students the best you can. It's kind of a 3% is a small number, you know, it's like, there's a lot more students than, like, what, 6,000 students?
All right, thank you. We're gonna go to Representative Butsina.
I just have a question for both of you, or whoever would be better able to answer it. But would this mandate that there is military representation, or just literally change what is written on your name tag?
It would provide that seat on Parliament. So it's, as far as I know, it's not necessarily that it's required, but it provides that seat and opportunity for military connected. So it's not. Remind me of the wording of your question, because I want to make sure I'm hitting that exact point.
Well, I'm just trying to understand if this is mandating that there is representation for military students, or if it's just gonna change the name tag or the constituency title.
So if on the chance that we do go back to constituencies, then that would be something, like changing of the name tag would be part of that, because then you would have like that as your constituency, that would be what you're representing. However, in the case that constituencies are done, that's why I tried just to cover kind of both ends here. There was that concern about constituencies being dead. That's why I did include it in the further resolve that they would have a representative seat, period. Like if we're not doing constituencies, then it'd be something that SCG or just appoints. So it's not necessarily mandated, but it's giving that opportunity for that seat to be filled by somebody who deserves representation.
Okay, thank you. Next we're gonna go to Representative Mann.
Hi. So this is for both of you. It's kind of like two questions. First, this is just like a general question. So 3% is like 180, right, of our student population. Does that include people who are deployed, or is that?
The number that I received was from like a RIC consensus, is the page, I wanna say it was 2023.
22.
No, 23, like 2023, like
Oh, sorry.
the year.
Yeah.
That I believe that information was from. I'm blinking. Repeat that one more time for me.
Okay, I was asking how many of that 180?
Oh yes, sorry. I just remembered. So as far as I know, that was considering like our veterans and like our active military from what I could gather from that page. So that's not necessarily even reaching further out into people that have either like parents or grandparents or siblings. in the
Dependents
military.
as well.
Yeah, I see.
So that's not even including that. That's just the people that, like myself, who served the country. And
Does it even count active?
yes, like the people that are like in the National Guard or Reserve, and then the veterans. But that didn't even include like dependents. So we're also trying to include that as well. So it wouldn't just be somebody that served in the military, but dependents as well, they are affected too.
I get that. And also, so I see do you count yourself as a co-author on this, or is that just you're just
Yes,
signing to- Okay. Co-signing.
co-signing.
Are you planning yourself to try to get
Yes,
that?
and it wouldn't be very hard to get 50 signatures at all.
Okay, so this is kind of catered to you.
Is,
We're gonna
I
move
mean,
on to
unless
the
anybody
next
else
person.
wants to do it, that's fine,
Okay.
but I mean, I think that there should be representation of
No, I don't
military
disagree.
students.
I don't disagree.
Speaking
I
to-
think the values of it are.
We're gonna move on to Treasurer Hoyos for our next comment, and then if you would like to respond more, you can put your card up and I will add you to my
I have
list.
a point of information first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for that rule of 50 signatures, 50 is the maximum. So that is, as far as I know, and I was talking with Joan about this, not every constituency needs 50 signatures. Like because there are some groups like our stipend orgs, when they had that constituency, they don't even have 50 members. So they might have 8 signatures that they have to get, so that it would be based off a certain percentage of our students. 25%, thank you. So it's 25% of the military connected people that are within that.
Point of interest is about 120 120 people, 6,000 students, 3% of the population, about 120 people.
So 25% of that,
Yeah, 20-something signatures.
so that you wouldn't hit that full 50, just so we know that number is clear.
All right, thank you. Treasurer Hoyos.
So if we're using an at-large model for next year, which is what Vice President Sullivan said we approved at Parliament, then there isn't a need to have a seat or any constituencies because they can just join and represent their groups as they should. And along with that, like, I fully support constituency. Like, I think that a good constituency policy is better than at large. So I do think that would be good to do in the future. But I don't think that it's necessary right now because these people can just join. So I move the previous question.
Okay, I'm looking to it for a second. Seconded by Representative Acosta. You guys know the drill. All in favor, and please do a show of hands. And this is just for ending discussion, and then we'd move to a vote on the resolution. Show 'em high. Any discussion? All right, we're looking for 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep them up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 votes is not 2/3 of our decision-making body. The motion is killed. We are continuing discussion. The next person I had in line was Representative Goldberg.
I just mainly point of clarification, because I don't know how they're separate. So we have a military resource center and a student organization, correct? Like okay. And then, so your, like, in the future, it could be a constituency, but your first move is just opening a seat, correct?
So with the resolution, the original goal is to have a constituency.
Oh.
And then be further resolved, we would have a seat.
Oh, okay, because
So
then
that way, if we don't do constituency.
to separate the concern about like, well, like other clubs don't have like a seat, we could also, would you consider doing a seat through the military resource center, or wouldn't that not be as useful? I'm just curious.
That could be, like, are you saying like
Like,
to get
instead
the
of,
representative
like-
for that seat?
Like, I'm not, like, it's not a club,
Which is?
being a military affiliate.
Oh,
It's
no,
not
I
a
know, no, I
club.
know that. That's why I'm
Oh.
asking, because then it might be an easier line to like, because I'm hearing like, whether I agree or not, I'm hearing concern that like I always speak for Wixon because that's the club I'm in, like Wixon doesn't have like a Wixon seed. But like, if you like military representation, could it be through the military resource center that we open a seat for somebody from the military resource center to get that line there? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a suggestion. It's not
No,
like,
I understand.
because that might make it easier to like honestly get that seat faster, because instead of making the argument that it's for a club, it is for a resource on campus for students.
I hear you.
I
Do
think
you
it's-
understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just a suggestion.
So just to clarify, that would mean, you're saying the person that would fill that seat would be somebody affiliated or working with
It could be
the
because
military
like
resource
similar to a faculty representative,
Yeah.
like your example, you could get somebody from the military resource center. In that, any point of information, you wouldn't need to get signatures, you'd be appointed, correct?
Yeah.
So we could appoint somebody through the military resource center if that's your goal, and then you could still have that representation and that like streamline without having to open constituency right away if that doesn't happen, and then you would still be able to open that representation. So that would mean you'd have to amend the resolution, which is annoying, but that's just a suggestion. It might make it easier to get that open.
I do.
Thank you. We're gonna hear from Representative Levis next.
Okay, first of all, James, that was such a good problem solving, which is like, just props to that problem solving,
Which is why it's so important to have diversity around the table. I think the strategic planning committee, one of their first issues to deal with is this concept of constituencies. I will also say thank you to Matt, because I've been here for 2.5 years and most people around the table have not been here that long. So they don't know the fact that we did have this concept of constituencies and it was an issue. But I do think that we should talk about it as part of the strategic planning committee. The second thing is diversity is different than constituencies. As a social scientist that teaches political science, and stakeholders are different than constituencies. And I think there's also a place to look at diversity. And is this the diversity that SCG wants sitting around the table? Not just, are they representing a certain group, but are we a diverse group of students? And so I think that is really important to consider as the strategic planning committee is also considering issues of constituencies. That's it.
Thank you. Representative Mann?
I want to apologize. I didn't mean to attack you.
It's
Sorry. That was more because I want like a representation. I like what you're doing. I like it in essence. I just feel like if it's gonna be like a military thing, it should like be more concrete on like I know it's like just at large like military. I feel like it should be more concrete on who it is, like an organization. So I'm sorry I attacked you. That was
I didn't feel attacked.
Okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
not an attack.
Okay.
Trust
Kind
me.
of information,
Point of information?
really
Go
quick,
ahead.
an organization like the Military Resource Center.
Yes, I feel like that, like right over in the student.
Okay, thank you. Representative Jakes?
Yeah, I was just gonna simply say that I would think that like if constituencies are back, like that would be an amazing idea to have some on the military on there. So it's like you could do it a number of ways, as he said, Military Resource Center, or you just simply have someone that's military affiliated, like in on the for a seat specific for someone that's military affiliated, they get core of the signatures of people that are affiliated. My one only question is like I know like we have a stats book that like lines that says like the amount of students we have and like many different things. Like in that stat book, like Perry, because you sent that to me last year.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's a category for students that served in the military?
Go ahead, Professor.
I'm sure there is. Those are federally required categories that we have to report on. And it's our institutional research division that does. Michael, are you gonna correct me?
Nope, I'm gonna correct you, I agree with you. We
Okay,
have that
yeah, it's our
information.
institutional research division that collects that data, and it's public data. We all use that data for our research. So you could ask it, it's on an annual basis that it gets updated.
Thank you. Rep Pacheco?
I was just gonna say that maybe so maybe the way we did constituencies before was wrong. So like in real politics, right? You could belong to a constituency of people that have let's just use military interests, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you're a former member of the military. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a stockholder at Raytheon. You're supportive of those issues, right? So maybe it's not necessarily to get all your votes from military members or people in the military industrial complex, right? So maybe we should just bring back the constituency system, not in the sense that it requires you to get a certain number of votes, but in that like it doesn't do any damage to know that Ben cares about the School of Arts and Sciences, or that Tess likes the School of Social Work, or that I'm always gonna be concerned about parking issues, whether it says it on my tag or not. Like, if maybe it should just be optional to add it to your information, and then in that sense, adding one for military people really is not, it's just really not that big of a deal. If we're talking about adding like a permanent seat, I think that's more of a discussion, but giving people the ability to be like, I represent veterans on like, what does that matter? Is that any different from what any of us do about any of the things we care about?
Thank you. Rep Jakes?
Yep, so I just want to make a quick point as far as like the constituencies goes. It's not just about, oh, you have this thing on your on your name tag. Like what it's supposed to do, like the goal of it, is that way. Like for example, if you're in the let's say if you have a military person rep on here, like people can go to you and talk about and ask you to represent their issues in Parliament, or like the sophomore class, like sophomores can talk to that person to represent. So you come and represent their issues in Parliament. Or any school, like, or any of the 5 schools, they can do the same thing. That is the point of constituency. It's not simply just something on your name tag. It's supposed to be actual representation.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna go to Rep. Goldberg.
Just super quick with that kind of like, yes, having constituencies open, but if the goal here is to have like direct access and resources for military members, I do think a direct line to whether it's an organization or the resource center will be more effective than just opening up a general constituency. Even if it's not just speaking about military members, like any like campus resource, if they want to have a seat on Parliament, that would be a clearer direct line to that. So I think opening up constituencies wouldn't be as effective in including that representation.
Thank you. Treasurer Hoyos.
So I think this is good discussion. But with the at-large model, I don't think that there's a need to add a constituency. And I think that as Representative Levis stated, this should definitely be on the Strategic Planning Committee's agenda. And now that that policy is passed and that is a committee, I move to refer this discussion on constituencies to the Strategic Planning Committee.
I'm looking for a second, seconded by Rep. Pacheco. We will now move to discussion on tabling this to the Strategic Planning Committee. If there is no discussion, I call the question.
Would this committee be working through the summer? Because otherwise, things that you refer this to until the start of the year, then this would be then you might not have it running in time for when the 27-28 year comes, and then you're pushing this back another year.
VP Sullivan.
Just kind of going off what Miguel was saying, I don't think we need to table it. I think we have a solution to keeping it at large, kind of what Jamie mentioned with like having the military resource center. That was gonna be my motion, was going to make a motion to amend this resolution to include a military resource representative. Should I move to
We still have a question on the table, which is Miguel's motion, Treasurer Hoyos' motion. So we can move that to a vote, and then if we choose to continue discussion, we could just deny that, and then we can move to your motion. So I guess I'll call the question, all in favor to either table this resolution, this idea to the Strategic Planning Committee. All in favor? Aye. Show your hands. Okay, and then all opposed? Okay, the noes have it, the motion is dead. Vice President Sullivan, you have the floor.
I'd like to make a motion to amend this resolution. Be it further resolved to add a military resource center representative. It would be similar to the positions we have for faculty representative when they would give reports.
Seconded by Treasurer Hoyos. We will now move to discussion on this amendment. Also, I forgot to bang the gavel earlier, so a little bang. We are now having discussion on VP Sullivan's amendment. Treasurer Hoyos.
I really don't think that we should move to just appointing representatives. There's a reason that we have there's a reason why it's set up the way it is. Like students need to go get signatures, and then staff and faculty reps need to get appointed by Parliament. And then this is student community government. So if you're talking about adding a staff member of the Military Resource Center, that would effectively be another staff member. And then why not add someone from Provost? Why not add someone from the President's office? Like you could just add everyone, and then it's not student government anymore. So I don't think this should happen.
Okay, Deputy Speaker LaRose, you have a point of
Point of
inquiry?
inquiry, so Jamie had mentioned the MRC rep. Would it be a student or a staff member that would be the rep, and would it matter? Would that be like somebody that works in the office, or would it be a student rep?
Honestly, that's up to Marcus. This is his resolution, so that was just an idea. I genuinely, this is not my resolution. That was a possible solution.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on
No,
the
no,
spot.
but that was a possible solution to this discussion. But it's Marcus's resolution. I don't have a say in what he writes on that.
I do actually, I thought Jamie's idea was a great idea to having it go through the military resource center. Ideally, it would be a student representative there. And I think Representative Luttrell can speak more on that as well, just because she does have active participation in that resource.
Thank you. So right now, we are just having discussion on VP Sullivan's amendment, and that's kind of purely just the language. This debate is getting a little bit bigger into the broader context of Representative Roach's resolution. So I'd like to keep debate right now germane just to the amendment that VP Sullivan made. We can bring that to a vote, and that's just to change some language. And then we can continue having the bigger conversation about actually approving the resolution. So right now, is there any discussion strictly to the amendment that Tess made? And maybe you'd like to reiterate it just so we are on the same page.
So it would be, and the be it further resolved, where it speaks about at-large seats, specifying that there'd be a military resource center representative that would give reports similar to how the alumni representative and faculty, and they would give reports about what is happening in their department.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion on that? Rep. Jakes.
Yeah, so we're saying that this would be a student or a staff member that would be in this position.
Student.
In that case, my concern with that is it's like, so obviously with faculty, staff, and alumni, we don't go get signatures because we're not current students. If you have a MRC person on there that is a student, so what you're saying is they're able to bypass the petition process. I think that's a very dangerous precedent where you allow other people to do this. And then at this point, then what's the point of anyone getting a petition signed? You know, just be like, oh, we're gonna vote a position for you to join.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. Rep. Howlett.
I just need some like basic clarification. So I have a better idea of how constituencies work, even if they're not currently applicable or they won't be next academic year. But what are the differences between powers of these staff who are elected? Because I know that's what you're proposing is to make it like a staff or a alumni representative. How's that different from at-large representatives when it comes to powers?
I'll give you the floor just to answer that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the floor to Dante.
Okay. They just can't vote. People who are like nominated and put into these positions just can't vote.
It's the only difference.
We can't vote on anything financial or electoral.
Yeah, and they don't get paid.
Correct.
So you have no
We don't
power.
get paid.
You get to attend meetings from 7 to 10 every other Wednesday. It's really fun.
Thank you. Rep. Mann.
So I agree with what Treasurer Horace was saying, but I don't think. I think if it's gonna happen, then I think with what's it called?
I'm sorry?
Military Resource Center.
Military Resource Center. If it's gonna happen, it would have to, I think it would be best if it was from, a representative from them.
Okay. Rep. Pacheco.
So just so we're all like on the same page, when it has the commuter at large on your thing and we talk about making constituency, that's like that representative is here for those issues. And I thought it was silly to put in like the requirement to get from the constituencies. You could still represent it because that's how it works in real life. Like you don't have to get your votes from those people. You get the votes from anyone and then still represent those issues. And you can have it even be known that you're pro those issues. But when it comes to this faculty member section, which is the second part, the how's it worded? Be it further resolved, that section. That part is about talking about adding a faculty member like Professor Levis. And as she pointed out, she gets to have all the fun of attending the meetings and like doing the work, but doesn't actually have any power in the parliament itself. I don't know that the MRC necessarily needs that, and I mean, I would just vote to strike that section entirely from this. I'm not necessarily motioning for that. And instead just get to add veterans to the roles of possible constituencies if we bring them back in the future, which is maybe a discussion we should have a different day, and that's all I was gonna say about that.
Okay, thank you. Rep Dempsey?
I kind of said this before, I'll reiterate. SCG has a club, funds a club called Student Veterans Association. That is comprised of veterans and military personnel. Right now, that club is basically inactive because this year it kind of fell off the map because of inactivity with numbers and stuff. So when someone in the future, like next year, for example, who's a veteran or armed person, member of the armed forces now, currently wants to revitalize that club, they're gonna have to go through Joan and the new treasurer and Nikita and the SCG board in general to get information how to reform, because there are steps that become necessary when you have to reform a club. And while that's all taking place, and I've seen it happen many times in the office, I'm in the office a lot, past 3 years. Joan usually, Joan brings it up, other members of the SCG bring it up, hey, because we all want more involvement, especially the E-board. So like, hey, we have Parliament, consider joining that. We have committees, both SCG and College Committee, consider joining that. And there are plenty of opportunities that these kids come in, these military kids can come, or people can come in when they're trying to start SVA, and at the same time, get knowledge about how SCG works, and then they can join SCG and join Parliament either through the current way, which is at large and no constituency at all, which is why, to back up Treasurer Hoyos' part, this whole resolution is really kind of a moot point right now because we don't even need it, because you're not using it. And if we do go back to a constituency in the future by the future E-board, they don't have to have a military personnel constituency, because by doing what I just said, them coming there, getting information, learning how everything works from the SCG and from Joan, E-board and Joan, they can just join one of the many constituencies we already set up in place. So there's already avenues for student veterans and student military personnel to join SCG and everything affiliated with it through their club alone. I don't think this resolution and both tests for MRC and the overall constituent, this overall resolution is necessary at this time.
Okay, thank you. President DiGregorio?
It seems like a lot of people have their mind made up, kind of, so I just want to move the previous question on the amendment.
Okay, I'm looking for a second. Seconded by Treasurer Hoyos. I call the question. All in favor, do a show of hands, please. This is just to end discussion on Vice President Sullivan's amendment, and then we'll move back to the main question pending, which is just approving the resolution. We have a 2/3 majority, it appears. All opposed? Okay. Motion passed. We are now moving back to the main discussion, which is just the approval of the resolution. The floor is still open for debate.
We have to vote on the motion now. On Tessa's amendment.
Vote on the motion. You just voted to end discussion. Now you gotta vote on Tessa's motion.
Because you moved the question.
You moved the question to end discussion on
Tessa's amendment. So
and
now
then
we
that
can
should
vote.
pass. Yeah,
We can vote on the amendment.
no.
Yeah.
You have to move. That was just moving the question for her amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So now we're back to like the main debate, which is just on the resolution. You can move the question again. We just did that. Oh, wait, guys, sorry, I'm being dumb. All right. I'm being real dumb. All right. Sorry, yeah. I now call the question. All in favor of Vice President Sullivan's amendment?
Aye.
Hands up.
Please do a show of hands.
Somebody count and tell me the number.
It looks like we have a majority.
Yeah, we have a majority.
Are you sure? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
All right, all opposed?
Hands up.
Hands up if you oppose her amendment.
Okay, that's majority, you're right.
Okay. Amendment passed. All right. Okay, now we are back to the main discussion of the resolution. Sorry, guys. So is there any more discussion on Representative Rocha's resolution? Treasurer Hoyos?
I'm just like we have an at-large model right now. Anybody can join. There's no reason to be adding student seats. this discussion should not be had right now, and it should be had when you're trying to make a constituency policy, which should be under the strategic planning committee. And we just, like, we're about to approve letting people join parliament without getting approved by their constituency or any students for that matter, besides whoever's on parliament. And then therefore they also don't get paid. That just seems wrong to me. I don't know. I already made all the motions I can. I don't think you can make the same motion twice, so.
Did you call the question on this? Have you called the question on this motion before, which is just to approve the resolution or bring the resolution to a vote?
Ooh, not the amended request.
Yeah, the amended
Okay,
request.
I move the question. I move the question to approve the amended request.
Okay, I'm looking for a second. Seconded by Rep. Jakes.
What is the amended request?
What test it?
No,
Would you like to
just
say it again,
pass
Tess?
the amendment.
The MRC rep.
Right now, we're just voting to close the discussion on
The amended
on
resolution.
the amended resolution,
That's correct.
and then
So-
move it to a vote.
And then move it to a vote. So I call the question. All in favor of ending discussion?
Aye.
Aye. Show of hands, just so we make sure. Okay, you guys are good anyways. That looks like we have a 2/3. Any opposed? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. The question is called. Now we'll go to a final vote on approving Representative Rocha's resolution, the amended resolution. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, just gonna count here. Can you repeat?
Can
Sorry.
you say what the amended resolution is?
Yes. So I call the question to approve the amended resolution, which goes as, and the Vice President, if you'd like to fill in the blank.
Yeah, it would say, be it further resolved that the bylaws are updated to be only at-large seats instead of individual constituencies. A military resource center representative would be in place of the constituency.
So pretty much instead of like a constituency, it's like
You
a,
have to laugh.
That's fair, and you're right.
yeah. Okay, thank you. I call the question, all in favor? Show of hands.
Like you're putting on deodorant. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. 15 yes to approve amended
Okay.
resolution.
I don't know. Any opposed? Please show of hands.
Nice and high, once again, like deodorant. Consider 34,
Girl, make it sound better.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Not enough consensus on this.
What was the number?
14.
Okay. Then the ayes have it and the resolution is passed. Okay, that's that.
What's gonna happen when the next person wants to actually have a same thing?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Another constituency comes and wants to actually have a rep seat. I'm just asking, like, I think, yeah,
President DiGregorio?
I actually do think it's a really fair question, and I just personally, I feel like it depends on just like what the student government at the time wants, whatever they think is necessary. I personally believe that I do think it is good to have a certain amount of departments here, like so we can have more, spread in terms of where our voice goes. So this is just one example of that. And even though people are divided on it, I think in general we at least all agree that we would like more, military students here. And if for some reason we feel like this doesn't work, it doesn't mean it's not subject to change and that's forever. So we could always change or modify in whatever way needed.
so that mean, could you modify my position no longer needing a faculty rep?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. I know there's more discussion on this, but we gotta get this meeting moving. We're gonna move on to our next item of the agenda, which once again is Representative Rocha, who is gonna present lobbying 101. So you have the floor.
Sorry for interrupting. I promise I will keep it under 5 minutes. Don't you guys worry.
Excuse me.
Just a point of information, right? If we do votes, we have to pass things by majority.
That was a majority.
It was not, because we have 31 people
So there were
here and
people
we
who
had
didn't vote,
15
and those-
people. Those are naturally abstentions. You didn't have enough to make majority. So like anyone who doesn't vote is an automatic abstention. Anyone who's a nay is a vote against. You don't just have to win the vote against, you have to win by majority. I don't think we're voting right sometimes. Like we had several times tonight where we had like 7 people put their hands up and
The
like
abstentions would.
5 people opposed. Neither one of those is enough to win anything. That should just dead a thing, shouldn't it?
The abstentions go to the prevailing side, not the aye. Goes to whoever's.
Oh. Okay.
Whatever the prevailing side is, so
Oh,
it could go
okay.
to a no.
Well, I guess I'll just clarify, Nikita, did we?
Yeah,
vote?
15
Was
for
it
the
done?
last one, so then that would mean the one extra goes to prevailing, cause they still won.
Yeah.
15, yes, 14, no.
Okay,
What's your question?
so it did pass.
Yes,
Okay,
cause then it's really 16 for once.
all right,
So it would be enough.
thank you. We're gonna move on to the next item. So lobbying 101.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. For those of you that I haven't met personally yet, I'm Marcus Rocha, as you can probably already tell. Anyways, so we have Rick's Day at the State House coming up, and so I thought it was really important to just give us a recap because we did have the dinner at President Warner's house. I know not everybody was able to make it, so I just wanted to get some clear points out there. So, you know, you can read all the information on here, but I'm going to give us brief points. Lobbying is really important. It provides you the chance to have your voice be heard by our legislators and policymakers and have an actual impact on their decision making. So the way we're going to have this impact on their decision making is through a good elevator speech or pitch, whatever you want to call it. Those are going to have our 4 main components of knowing your target, so you know who they are, who exactly we want to talk to, remaining respectful on their, and you know, using their title, those kinds of things. The power of 3s, which is actually scientifically proven to help in decision making and problem solving situations. We want to be clear and concise. We want to keep it down 30 to 60 seconds. That's what we want. We want to hit the main points, no fluff, because at the end of the day, that's not what they're concerned about, not the minute details. Finally, we want to finish off strong with the ask that's going to cue our legislator in to exactly what we want from them, and then with the cherry on top of thanking them for their time and consideration. At this point, you're probably still trying to remember what we're even lobbying for. Our main concern right now is going to be making the Hope Scholarship permanent, followed by renovations for the Adams Library and the resident halls. And there's some extra information on there, but what I really want to draw your attention to is who does this benefit. So that's where we're going to use that power of 3, which is repetition in sets of 3. And we want to talk about how these different things are going to benefit our students, how it's going to benefit Rick, and how it's going to benefit Rhode Island as a whole. Finally, you can read this on your own time because I know it's in the meeting materials as well, but I did provide an example of an elevator speech highlighting the 4 different key components and where they're actually found within that elevator speech. So feel free to use that as at your leisure. Finally, there was some really good discussion at President Warner's house. One question that really stuck out to me, and I believe it was, what's his last name?
Donovan Dotson.
Yes, Representative Dotson, even though he's not here right now, but he asked, none of these things actually pertain to me, so how can I lobby for it? And I thought President Warner's, response was really good. At the end of the day, we are representatives of our entire school, no matter the constituency. And I think that sometimes there's a heavier impact knowing that I'm not just doing this for personal gain, but I'm doing this for the benefit of my peers and generations to come. Finally, if the legislator doesn't agree with you, listen, that's okay. The best thing to do is remain respectful, professional, and sometimes you can really help persuade them by answering questions, addressing concerns. And so some prior research can really go a long way with that. Then just to recap, our key components of a good elevator speech are going to be knowing your target, the power of 3s, being clear and concise, finishing off with the ask. Our main causes and concerns are going to be making the Hope Scholarship permanent, renovations to the Adams Library and the resident halls. And then finally, give your speech a couple run-throughs, try it on some different people, see what they think.
And the best tip I can give for you for that is don't have a script, have keywords. That's gonna help you avoid freezing up in front of these legislators. All right. Thank you all so much for listening, and I can't wait to see a lot of familiar faces there. And then finally, we get to celebrate at Rick Revival afterwards. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Rep. Rocha. We're now gonna move on to updates and remarks. First, our faculty update from Dr. Harry Levis.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so just very quickly, so we brought up issues of tenure of seats, advisor seats. So I've been on SCG as the faculty rep for 2 years, and I think that it's the right time for someone else to come on. So my tenure ends at the end of this academic year. So it would be, and I'm happy to speak to old e-board or current e-board and new e-board members about the role of a faculty rep, and you can speak to Dr. Marcotte separately. But I think there is like a good amount of time that the people that have these positions, for them to be rotating, so that you have new people coming in with new ideas, which is why I called out James's idea. Whether or not you liked it or you didn't like it, it was a new idea. And that's why you should have a new faculty member that comes in after 2 years representing. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is, test is awesome. One pager should be sent to all chairs, faculty chairs, and to deans, and to have you all send this out, ask them to send it out to the faculty members so we can encourage students to vote. And the best way for us to do this is to have this little pretty diagram that we can put on our weekly announcements to all of our students. Okay, heard. A couple other faculty things going on is that this year, the professional advising department, which comes under the Dean of Students, the academic advising, is having advising day next Wednesday. It's the first time they've tried this. It's a drop-in model. This does not replace you coming to see me as your prof and advisor. It's meant to be another resource that students can go and drop in and ask about fall semester classes. Fall semester classes open April 6th. That means that advisors should be reaching out to you all, and you should be reaching out to your advisors this week, next week, any week open up until April 6th. Next Wednesday is also the all majors internship and job fair. If you haven't seen that, coming out of our career and life design center next Wednesday from 12 to 2. If whether or not you're a senior, junior, or first year student, go to the job and career fair. It's a good way. You sign up through Rick Connect. You can see all 50 of the public and private sector organizations that are coming to Rick. Finally, there's two other quick faculty updates. One is the P&E process is back again. I don't know who has the relationship with the provost, but it's worthwhile asking them what's happening this year. So those programs that were on the slate to be eliminated last year but weren't eliminated, that includes one of my own programs that I direct, have to produce a report by early April that goes to the provost. So you all should be aware of that. And then finally, we are hiring new faculty. It is pretty late to hire new faculty. Usually there's something called being on the market when faculty members either are changing institutions or when you finish your PhD and you're applying to jobs. Usually you apply in the fall and it's a 6 to 9 month process. We are hiring a little bit out of that process, that we're going to be hiring almost in all schools that are sitting on the provost's desk for going out publicly in the next couple of weeks. There's a fair number of hires that are going to be going out into the world for us to be recruiting for. So I don't know who is in contact with the provost about knowing what's going on about that, but it's worthwhile you knowing that. And also because of the Trump administration guidelines, there are changes as to who can be hired. including those people who have HB1 visas, which is, it changes who's in the hiring pool. So it's worthwhile some level of you all knowing what's going on. That is my faculty update.
Okay, thank you. If you have questions directly for Dr. Levis, could you wait till after? The meeting is just getting a little late, and I know people are probably getting antsy. So next, we're gonna move on to our alumni update from Mr. Matthew Jakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker Ptolemy. Just a couple quick announcements here. You have until March 31st to nominate an outstanding community member for the 2026 Alumni Awards. We have a couple of events that will be going on soon, such as the Alumni Panel and Networking, which will be in Gage Hall on Wednesday, March 25th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. There's also the Junior, Seniors, and Alumni Networking Night on Tuesday, April 14th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Gage 200. And the Lunch and Learn Financial Literacy on Tuesday, April 21st from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. in Alger 110. And my last announcement is obviously like in a month from now, you'll be nominating for faculty, staff, and alumni. If you have any interest in being an alumni rep, let me know. I'm open to coming back if no one wants to do it. However, if someone wants to do it, I'd rather let them have that spot. So I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna move on to appointments, resignations, and vacancies. President DeGregorio, you have the floor.
Okay, so for conditions and services, I appointed Kristen, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna butcher your last name, Montron, did I say that right? Perfect. Jesse Garneau as a non-student parliament member, Aiden Huff as a non-student parliament member, and Jacob Muzzy. Jacob Muzzy. I say it right?
Muzzy, yeah.
Perfect. Which is a non-student parliament member. For Elections Commission, I appointed Jefferson Fan as a non-student parliament member. Finance Commission is still full. Public Relations, I appointed Aiden Huff as a non-student parliament member, Jacob Muzzy as a non-student parliament member, and Jefferson Fan as a non-student parliament member. And there is no resignations, expulsions, or vacancies. Can I get a motion to approve all of the appointments?
Seconded by Rep. Mann. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Approved. Now we're gonna move on to issues of parliament members. Just always just a reminder, it's not a time for debate or questions. If you have an issue you want to bring forth or an event you want to plug, now's the time to do so. Let's start with Rep. Seguin.
Next Wednesday, Engage 100, 8 p.m. Officially, the Josh Greenberg Show is returning. It's Engage 100 next Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m.
Yay! All right, thank you. Rep. Barone.
I'm gonna talk about the interviews one more time, I promise. I'm gonna be so fast. I just want to shout out both Marcus and Malcolm because they were really awesome in answering my questions. It was really lovely and fun to talk to them both. Really encourage anybody else who wants an interview to contact me. And go read those articles because they were really cool. And if you want to see like an example of what kind of questions I might ask you or even just how like interviews work, go read it.
Thank you. Rep. Rocha.
All right, two things. The freshman class currently has a raffle going on, so if you want to follow our Instagram page, Break It Out Class of 2029, like tag friends, do all the stuff on there. You can possibly win a free iPad and Apple Pencil. Also, you know, prior to going to the Josh Greenberg Show next Wednesday, you can stop at the bistro starting at 6 o'clock. We're gonna do a trivia night. We have a bunch of fun, like spring reset themed surprises. And yeah, that's all I have right now.
Thank you. Rep. Dempsey.
So for those who don't know me, my name is William. I'm the SCG Comptroller. I've been doing it for 3 years now. It's a fancy way of saying I'm the SCG bookkeeper. I'm a student version of Nikita. Basically, I enter all the transactions that involve the SCG budget and all of our student organizations that we fund. I oversee all their budgets and maintain them. I've decided that given my increasing demands with my two accounting jobs and getting to the second half of my grad school year, which is more challenging than the first half, to basically piggyback off what Mr. Jakes has said and what Harry Levis has said about not moving on next year, I've decided that I'm not gonna seek a fourth term as comptroller, or apply to be a comptroller again next year due to these demands. So anyone who wants to, I already have one person's already come to me actually about wanting to shadow me. If any of you guys love finance, maybe wanna be treasurer, not next year, but the year after, there's a great stepping stone to do that, because you learn a lot and you work directly with the treasurer. You run the finance meetings in the treasurer's absence, or if he or she has to yield the floor because of conflicts of interest, so they have to do, or whatever, you run the meeting. So it's a great experience, it looks good on your resume, and I've enjoyed doing it. If you do shadow me, I can teach you basically about the PT meetings and how to like effectively do the job through due diligence and research, before you go into the finance meetings. I can't teach you about how you enter the stuff into the system anymore, because that part of the job has become obsolete because Rick Connect is taking that away from me. So other than that, if you're interested, please reach out to Treasurer Hoyos or myself, and I'll make time to somehow meet with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker LaRose.
Come to my town halls, please, guys. I worked really hard on them. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Treasurer Hoyos.
I wanted to comment on shout out the job fair. They give I think they're doing professional headshots at this fair, and then every single person in this room who doesn't have a full-time job lined up after graduation, if you're graduating, should be at that job fair. These people are coming to this college to recruit young people, and to a bunch of colleges, to recruit young people who know how to use tech, who know how to use AI, who know how to talk to people. And that's how I found an internship in the fall. I went to a job fair. I just talked to all the tables, and one of them asked for my resume. So print out your resumes and be ready to hand them to people. You can meet with Career and Life Design beforehand to help with that. Dress nicely, get those professional headshots for LinkedIn and whatever other medias you use. And seriously, it's such a good opportunity. And then I also wanted to let you guys know there's Beast Games happening next Thursday at 6 p.m. in the ballroom. The grand prize is a Nintendo Switch with a Nintendo gift card. So, and then it's going to be a bunch of little games. It's going to be last to leave the circle. And there's going to be smaller prizes throughout, for mini games and stuff. So that should be cool. And it's next Thursday at 6 p.m. And for our seniors, on Monday, March 30th, I believe at 6 p.m., the senior class is holding a grad student survival guide. At this event, we're also doing professional headshots for free. So we're having a professional photographer come in and do that. So dress nicely for that. We are doing a raffle where we fully refund the cost of 5 cap and gown purchases for seniors who haven't gotten the cap and gown fund. So if you're a senior and you bought a cap and gown, or you're going to, you should come to that for the raffle. And then there's also going to be a bunch of people from commencement committee, Rick Foundation, Career and Life Design to answer questions and talk to seniors. That is all my issues.
Thank you. Nikita.
Hi, I need to issue an apology to Parliament. There are so many different policies and things of voting, and this does not change the result at all of the vote, but I misspoke. So this is the SCG bylaws. So this is a presumption of assent. So member who's present at meeting, all of you, student parliament, at which action or on any corporate matter is taken shall be presumed to have assented to the action unless you express your dissent. So unless you say, I oppose, it is presumed assent, as Ben said, not to the prevailing side. There are so many different types of votings and all of these different policies, so I apologize that I misspoke. Again, doesn't change the results. And I'd also, funny, on a comical note, it says that you could also forward your dissent by certified mail to the executive council secretary within 48 hours after adjournment of the meeting. Not sure if that's ever happened, but I thought that was pretty funny. But also, if you do say yes, you can't then send your certified mail saying I changed my mind, it's a no. But, so just wanted to correct myself, but it doesn't change it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any more issues of Parliament members? President DiGregorio,
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
seconded by Rep. Seguen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, before I bang the gavel, stay in your seats, stay quiet. Nikita's gonna do roll call.
Remember,
Meeting adjourned.
and remember, if you oppose that adjournment, certified mail. Okay. Just keeping it light, y'all. Dante DiGregorio.
Present.
Pat Sullivan. Here. Marina Colonis. Present. Miguel Hoyos.
Here.
Benjamin Tomini.
Here.
Judy LaRose.
Here.
Brianna Acosta.
Here.
Isabella Ba.
Here.
Joshua Ballesteros.
Here.
Ollie Barone. Monica Budina.
Here.
Daria Lynn Campbell. William Dempsey. Donovan Dodson. Jacob Fairholt.
Here.
Nicole Glennon. Jamie Goldberg. Alexander Howlett. Riley Jackman. Alex Logan. Malcolm Mann. James Marshall. Madison Mello. Peter Mesa. Joshua Ballesteros. Sorry, I already called you. I meant Joshua Mahalo. Kristen Montron. Marcus Pacheco. Joseph Rabacetti. Kai Reed. Marcus Rocha. Chris Russell. Jason Sanchez. John Seawood. Eddie Silva Ramos.
Make that count.
Ashton. Jasmine Valdez. Lucas Weber. Cindy Kozel. Perry Levis.
Here.
Melissa Marcotte. Michael Kane. Michael Ward. Ted Zito. Matthew James.
Present.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you, Nikita.
If you change your mind,
If anybody wants to take up the petition tonight, I have, Jonathan, I have extra petitions certified down tonight.
my goodness.
Next year.
To the secretary. Send it right to Marina.
I'm mailing it.
That's the highest.
I got this crazy
Holy
business,
meeting,
dude.
holy meeting, holy meeting.
We're mad. We're mad. Even it's like whole house
That was
mad.
crazy.
Because you got it to me. Wait. I think you understand it to me.